Hello there, I'm Azara Tagaya and you're watching Ringgit Sense Plus, powered by RinggitPlus. On this show, we talk about topics related to personal finance, and today is our last episode for the season. Throughout the season, we have shared various tips on financial planning. We've done stories on insurance, starting a fund for your retirement and your children's education, and saving money for your life goals. In our next story, we're going to recap some of those topics. We're going to share a financial planning to-do list, either for those who are single or those with families. But this time, we look at it from an Islamic financial planning point of view. If you're between the ages of 20 to 30, you're probably just starting in your career and planning to get married. So let's recap briefly some of the things you should be planning right now. Start an emergency fund, and these funds should be able to last you for at least a period of 6 months for emergencies such as suddenly losing your job. At the same time, it's important to get health insurance or takaful to protect yourself. Then it's time to think of saving money for your life goals, like a retirement fund, your wedding, and buying a home. We met with Rafiq Hidayat Muhammad Ramli, a certified financial planner and also an Islamic financial planner, to ask him how different both forms of financial planning really are.
So the goals are generally the same. The main difference between here is then the products or the advice that will be given in terms of how do we implement that. So example, for the emergency funding, we would advise, example, using something that is low risk or medium risk at most to put aside the saving. So in the case for under Islamic financial planning, we would then ask the client to put money in something like tabung haji, or maybe amanah harta putra, or even ASB if your beliefs allows you to do so. So those would be the types of savings that we would ask you to put aside in order for you to build up your emergency savings. So with regards to your protection needs, so instead of taking your conventional insurance, we would advise you to take up takaful.
For Muslims, there are restrictions in investments and protection that they can use, as it must be Shariah compliant. That means avoiding businesses that charge interest, have uncertainty, and elements of gambling. In Malaysia, there are a variety of options available that matches conventional products like Shariah compliant Shariah unit trust funds and takaful protection. But there are still challenges.
Like for our clients in our firm, we actually generally advise them to diversify, and part of the asset allocation would include investments from outside of Malaysia. But we find it a bit hard to do for our Muslim clients because, as I said earlier, Malaysia is one of the biggest Islamic finance hubs in the world. So most of the better investment vehicles are in Malaysia compared to elsewhere. So their diversification could be limited compared to the conventional.
For those who are 30 and above, your commitments would have increased. You probably have a family of your own, so this means buying takaful protection for your family and also starting an education fund for your kids. By this time, you should already have some savings to buy a home if you can afford one. There are many Sharia-compliant home financing schemes in Malaysia that are just as competitive as conventional home loans that you can choose from. Rafiq says in terms of Islamic financing, there is no additional cost compared to conventional financing. For Muslims, there are other requirements like zakat or almsgiving. However, you should start planning for it as your income increases.
So maybe when you started working, you don't have any assets available yet, and so you don't have enough even to pay for zakat. So because you don't have extra or you don't have access. But once you have built up your assets, your wealth, so now you have more than what the nisab would be. Nisab is the minimum amount that you're being assessed on, which is about, in Malaysia, is about 85 grams of gold. So once you have more than the nisab, so then you have to pay 2.5% flat over your total asset. Not total asset minus the nisab, but it's on the total assets.
With a family, estate planning is more important as you will need to protect your family if something happens to you. In conventional financial planning, this means life insurance and also writing a will.
They also need to look into planning for their hereafter. So what were to happen if they were to pass away? How would their family continue living? So this is where they need to start looking into their Islamic estate planning. So in which they need to look at their wasiat or their hibah, which is what they give to their beneficiaries, and faraid, which is how it's distributed, and last and not least is wakaf. Basically the assets that they put aside for charity.
What's important here is that you have a financial plan of your own ready. In financial planning, there's a popular saying, failing to plan is planning to fail. Start by writing down all your life goals that you want to achieve and work backwards from there on how you're going to get there. Will you have the money to achieve it? Always plan for success and control your spending. We're putting the story you just watched on our Facebook page and also on YouTube. So if you want to share it with someone who needs it, find it there. Let us know if the tips we shared was useful for you by leaving us a comment. Now we're going to take a short break, and after that we're going to be talking more about insurance. Which insurance should you get? The answers when we come back. Well, welcome back to Ringgit Sense Plus. Thanks for staying with us. You're still with me, Azariah Tagaya, and this time I'm joined by our partners at RinggitPlus, and we want to talk to you about protection. What types of insurance are there, and what's the right protection for you and your family members? To tell us more, we have Han Liu, the CEO of RinggitPlus, joining us in the studio. Hi, Han.
Hi, thanks for having me.
Hi, thanks for coming again on Ringgit Sense Plus. And this week we want to talk about protection or insurance. First up, what are the different types of protection that are available, and what would be the right type of protection for someone who is single, 20-something, and just starting out in their careers?
Oh no, I mean, it's a good question, especially for young people. Obviously, there's all kinds of insurance plans out there. When we say insurance or takaful, the most people think about just life insurance, but actually there's many kinds of insurance policies that you can get. And the whole nature of insurance is to protect against the unknown or the unpredictable. So it could be accidents that happen, illnesses that occur, be it for onto you or on your body, or onto your property. So for a young person just starting out work, the hierarchy or the priority of insurance should really be, okay, do I have a dependent? Do I have somebody depending on me to earn an income that will be affected if I lose that income, or if I get something bad happens to me, right? So the first thing to consider is whether you have a dependent or not. Assuming you don't, you're a single person, you just started the workforce, you started to earn some money, you have a little bit of savings every month to think about insurance. The first thing to think about is medical, right? Because if you're not able to work because you're sick, you want to make sure that an insurance policy can cover the period which you're sick for. So think about a medical card for if you get sick or injured and you have to go to a hospital to get treatment, right? So that's the first thing. And then down the next up on that priority list is accidents. So it's not just getting sick and you can't work and you can't earn money, but also if an accident happens to you and you can't work for a longer period of time, and it's not just about medical bills, it's you're incapacitated, you basically can't go back to work for a long time, but there's no need for you to go to the hospital, you're just stuck at home. What you want is a personal accident policy, right? As a young person, one of the worst things that can happen to you is an accident, which then forces you to be out of work for a while. What you want is to be able to have money coming in from that policy paying out if anything happens to you. So in conclusion, for a young person, in terms of the most important things, if you don't have dependents, check out your medical coverage, especially compare it to what you have with your employer, right? So your majikan, as it were, how much do they give you? Is that enough? If it's not enough, top it up, as well as top it up with a bit of personal accident. Right?
Okay.
If for a young person, accidents are a key issue in stopping you from working.
What about, you spoke about having people depend on you. So what about if you are further down in your career and you're starting a family, you may have children, what are the types of insurance that they should look at then?
Yeah. I think I mean, as you go down your career, you say more people depend on you. More people depend on you earning an income.
Yeah.
It's not about other types of insurance. It's about adding to the coverage that you do have, because you still will have loss of income from getting sick. You still might have loss of income from meeting an accident. But in addition to that, it's not just about you, right? And the next down the priority is when it comes to having a family and depending on you is what happens if you're not around anymore. Then that's when life insurance becomes a fairly important thing, because if you have people depending on you and you're no longer around to provide for them, you want to make sure that they're covered, right? Because that's people depending on you versus you being a single. So life insurance becomes the next part, as well as a family medical, right? Which is it's not just you who might get sick or meet an accident, and there may be bills to pay when that happens, and your current income may not be sufficient to cover those serious incidences, where be it medical or accidental, that happened to your family, which you need to make sure is covered. So then that's coverage for you, life, and then additional medical coverage for
the
your
family.
Yeah.
So if you can only afford just one as a beginning, you would suggest medical insurance would be the one that we should go for.
Yep. So medical and then accident. Right?
Okay.
Those two are things which cost money, which people can see, and they can be shocking to the system. And then it's the life when you have a dependent.
Okay. How about when someone is just starting out shopping for insurance or protection? How does someone start looking at the types of insurance that are available to them? How do you start to do your research, basically?
There's heaps of places. Obviously, there's a wealth of information out there. Obviously, us at RinggitPlus encourage you to come online, read the policies, read what's being covered, think about your own lifestyle. Right? What do you need in your life? Okay, I live right now. Does anyone depend on me? If nobody depends on me, then I got to think about what happens when anything bad happens to me, whether it's an accident or it's an illness.
Yeah.
And I've just got to make sure I cover those two things. And once I cover those two things, that's pretty much the most important things to cover, given that we have a limited amount of money to put on insurance. I will prioritize those two things.
Okay. Well, thank you so much, Han, for joining us on Ringgit Sense Plus. As always, it's fun having you on the show and sharing with us.
No, thank you.
Thank you. Well, guys, we're taking another short breather. When we come back, we take a look at Malaysian spending habits as the Hari Raya celebrations draw closer. Are we spending within our means? Also, if you haven't completed your Raya shopping list yet, we have something to share with you where you can spend as you contribute to the lives of others. Find out more when Ringgit Sense Plus returns. Back with us on Ringgit Sense Plus, you're still with me, Azaria Tagaya. Now, Hari Raya is drawing closer and preparations are well underway for most. But celebrations like these is when people tend to overspend the most. Some max out their credit cards and many rely on either loans or the festival advance that is handed out by companies. We visited the Raya Bazaar at Dataran Merdeka to see for ourselves how Malaysians are spending at this time of year. So how do you celebrate a festival without breaking the bank? Now, if you watch this show often, then you'll always hear the #1 tip from financial planners is to set out a budget. Now, how you do this is you list out all the things you want to buy, how much money you have, and how much money you need to save before you can buy it. But the question is, are Malaysians doing this?
Bajet untuk Hari Raya. Biasanya bawah 1,000 lah, bawah 1,000.
Akak tak ada bajet, beli aja. Tak ada bajet.
Bajet saya 200.5.
Persiapan raya? Dalam lebih 1,000 lebih. Persiapan raya sebab kita pun beraya jauh. So, bajet dia dalam bawah 1,000 lah. Biasa macam tu lah sebab tempat kita jauh. Untuk 3 orang anak biasanya 1,000.
We also asked them what they spend their money on for Hari Raya, and most said it went to buying clothes.
Seorang anak dalam 2 pasang baju.
Saya beli 1 kurta, 1 set Melayu, lepas tu dengan tudung 2 untuk adik dengan kakak saya.
Okay, tahun ni kita just beli baju raya macam biasa untuk family semua. Kuih kot sebab sekarang tahun ni memang tak buat kuih dah.
Besides new clothes and Raya cookies, Duit Raya, or money given out to children and relatives, is also a big expenditure for many. So how much are people giving out this year?
Kalau budak-budak tengok dalam RM10 ke.
Bagi ada RM5, RM2 macam tu lah.
Bajet tahun ni mungkin lebih sikit lah. Ada 5, ada 10.
Selalu untuk budak-budak umur bawah 5 tu saya bagi at least RM3 ke RM5.
Untuk bawah 12 tahun tu kita bagi dalam RM10-RM5 macam tu lah.
The excitement of celebrating often tempts us to overspend. We asked people what tips they have to stick within the budget.
Itulah beraya ni kan. Berbelanja tu beringatlah, bersedana, berjimat kan. Jangan terlalu membazir lah, jangan terlalu ikut kehendak. Kena fikir juga selepas raya tu nanti.
Pada akak bajet daripada awal. Persiapan semua daripada awal. Tak buat secara mengejut lah tak. Nasihat saya beli dengan ikut kemampuan, ikut bajet. Jangan nampak semua nak beli. Kalau baju kurung dah ada, so kita beli t-shirt atau baju lain pula. Jangan baju kurung sampai 5-6 pasang. Ikut bajet sendiri macam itulah.
As with any case, the best advice to give is to start early. Try to plan your budget a few months beforehand so that you have more time to plan your spending and set out your budget and keep track of how much money you need to save for the festive season. Well, festivities and celebrations is not just a time for getting yourself new things and receiving, it's also a time for giving. And in our next story, we share how you can give as you buy. We came across a shop called Maisha in Publica Mall, which is part of a project to help those in the cottage industries as well as the underprivileged and disabled people to gain financial independence, generate more income for themselves, and alleviate their lives as a whole. Let's watch. When you first walk into this shop in Publica Mall, Maisha seems just like any other shop. They have clothes, bags, accessories, and even food products. But take a closer look and you'll find a story behind every detail. Imagine a single mother trying to make a living for her kids, or someone unable to work due to a physical disability, or a woman who's forced to leave her job to take care of her sick mother 24/7. These are just some of the people whose lives have been helped through Yokuk, a foundation for the disabled and underprivileged.
Yokuk is a foundation for the disabled and underprivileged, which we started about 20 years ago in Kota Baru, Kelantan. Currently, we have like more than 5,000 people who are registered with us in Kelantan with varying kinds of disabilities. So we provide 4 different types of services to them. We provide services like welfare services in terms of therapy type of services. We do educational services and palliative care. So when we have been working with helping the people with who needs palliative care, we find that a lot of them maybe are not able to find any income, and so we have also a lot of single mothers and poorer people out in the villages who we find that they are not able to find work. So we thought, how is the way that we can try and help these people?
Although this concept may be relatively new here, it is quite well known overseas, such as through Oxfam in the United Kingdom, which has thousands of charity shops in the UK and worldwide. Since Yokuk and the people who produce the products are based in Kelantan, members of the foundation are frequently traveling to and from KL in order to keep the business running. The foundation also organizes training for these individuals to teach skills including business management, marketing, and accounting, among others.
For example, this multi-purpose bag, it's made by one of the mothers of one of our clients, because the client is bedridden, so she just has to be at home. So we actually then brought these type of ladies, and we've got some who are OKU themselves. For example, the lady who does these beading, Wani, she has limited usage of her hands, but she can still do lovely beading. And so what we did is we actually got some trainers who teach people how to sew. But you see, the ladies that we have, they can sew, but sewing clothes is different to sewing items like pouches or pencil cases and book covers. So we actually got a 2-day workshop to convert their skill to something that is more marketable.
And just like any other business, running a charity shop does have its own set of challenges, whether it's dealing with customers and suppliers, keeping stock, and even quality control of products. Another hurdle they're currently learning how to maneuver is social media and using it to get the full advantage for the business.
First of all, to get people to, see it, view it, isn't it? And impressions or whatever, and then to like it, and then to follow it, and then whether the follow converts to dollars, ringgit and cents, So there is we getting help from various people, because on our own we can't. And then we haven't even gone to the stage of putting our products online yet. That is the next phase we are aiming for.
However, Datin Suliana says since they're a new charity shop, the emphasis at the moment is still on getting the word out about Maisha and Yokuk so that people understand how it works. Most importantly, the customers will also understand that each time you purchase something from Maisha, you're actually helping someone improve their lives. So if you still haven't bought your Raya clothes or Raya cookies, perhaps you can shop at a place that lets you give as you buy, such as Maisha. Well, financial independence is something we always talk about here on Ringgit Sense Plus, and it's certainly great that this is helping people be more self-sustainable. If you liked that story, you can always watch it again on our Facebook page. As this is the last episode for the season, that's also where you can go to catch our previous episodes on other topics as this show takes a break. Till we meet again, remember to invest and save wisely. For Ringgit Sense Plus, I'm Azaria Tagaya, signing off.